Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is season 4, episode 1 of the Scandalous Scandal Recap. I am Larry Brown Jr., and I'm joined by my lovely and fabulous co host, the Janiyah Wright. Janiyah, good evening.
Good evening, LBJ. I am so excited to get our show going again because I am so excited that the show is going again. How are you doing tonight?
I am well. I am well. I'll tell you, I am a little bit fatigued because I have been on a 3 hour roller coaster from thank God it's Thursday, hashtag TGIT on ABC.
Yes,
I'll tell
yes.
you, we got some Grey's Anatomy that kicked us off at 8, Scandal at 9, and then How to Get Away with Murder at 10, and now at 11 we're going live with our Scandalous Scandal recap. I think we should just go ahead and get started. I will have to shout out, however, Janiyah, as we get started with the Scandalous Scandal recap, I am quite impressed by your hair that you are wearing because it's very, very, very reminiscent of that of Olivia Pope as she and Jake were on the island when the episode opened this season. I didn't know you had the inside skinny. Did that happen when you were in LA?
No, it actually happened when I was on the beach at an undocumented island right off the coast of Zambia.
And what was
Right?
your name? What was your name?
It was Julia. It was Julia Baker. LBJ, how crazy was that? I mean, they could have been anywhere. You know, the last time we saw Jake and Olivia, they were just on a plane. They were on a plane talking about walking into the sunshine. We had no idea where they were going to be, and to watch them just there, gallivanting, having a good old time on the sands, getting lunch via a boat. It was just an interesting way to be reintroduced to them, LBJ. What did you think of that?
I was open to it. I knew that we had this whole Olivia Jake thing that we needed to clear up from the end of season 3, and I was
Right.
prepared for whatever it was going to be. I did have a feeling it was going to be like somewhat of a segue into whatever the business was going to be to kick off season 4 with the tease of Olivia on the beach and the red wine,
Right.
and she's reaching for the glass of wine. But I did not expect her to get the news of Harrison's passing in the mail after they got their fancy peapod.com delivery via boat, and they got all of that other stuff
Yeah, yeah,
going
yeah,
on the
yeah.
island, and then she got the news addressed to Julia Baker that his body was found, and that prompted her to go back to come back to DC. Now I will tell you.
And LBJ, I just have to say, usually you are the person on this show that gets all of the guesses correct, LBJ. But let the record show that
Uh-huh.
Janiyah Wright, I predicted this, LBJ. I knew that it was going to be Harrison's death that was going to bring Olivia back to the mainland. I said it
You
in our
did.
last chat at the end of the season. I predicted this, LBJ. Score one for Janiyah Wright.
You did. You did predict that, but I have to get a score up on the board as we kick off this season as well. Because if you remember, go back to Scandalous Scandal season 3, episode 18. If you think about what I said at the end of the episode, if we took into consideration all of the what was going on in Columbus Short's personal life,
Now
it was
that's
almost
true.
as if Shonda Rhimes said, "Little brother, I have a heart for you. I love you
Yeah.
dearly, and I am going to look out for you. What you need to do is take this summer, get your life together, and we will decide what we're going to do with you." Because it really was open ended what was going to
It's
happen
true.
with
It's true.
Harrison at the end of the season, and then ABC decided to get rid of Columbus. After all of that legal drama, domestic violence stuff was going on that we heard about over the break, and so now today we saw we really saw the end of Harrison's life. But can we take a moment and just talk about that for a little while? Harrison
Mm-hmm.
is no longer with us. I don't know about you, but I felt some kind of way. Like I was feeling the feelings. I was like, "Am I messing up? Am I really?" You heard Aretha Franklin's soulful voicing and "Don't Bridge Over Troubled Water" for this
Yeah.
Scandal jam
Yeah.
session, and then they all started mourning at the casket. And I was just like, "What did we say about bye?" And she's like, she did the quiver. Yes, deep in my heart.
Like a bridge over troubled water.
It was so
LBJ,
bad.
it was so good. You know what, though? I will tell you, I do feel like the Harrison storyline has left us hanging. Of all the gladiators, he is the one that we knew the least about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we actually found out in tonight's episode that he was raised in a group home, right? And that
Yeah.
everything we thought about his childhood was not even real. The little that we knew wasn't even real. And so I'm just wondering, LBJ, are they going to keep Harrison alive in some way by us getting tidbits of his life as the show goes on? I don't know. But I agree with you, LBJ. My heart was broken because I feel like he died before I got to know him. We
I'm
didn't
telling
get a
you,
chance.
it was totally. He's dead. He's good, dead and gone. Olivia, Shonda Rhimes said that Harrison's character will not be replaced. It will not
Right.
be. It's done. It's over. And
It's
I think that
done.
we had an opportunity to learn who Harrison was and where Harrison came from. Had
Mm-hmm.
Columbus, been living right and doing right. However, he wasn't, and so now it was just like, okay, we gotta kill him off,
Yeah.
and when say, you know what, let's he's got to go, and this is how it's gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna play Aretha. We're gonna line him up at the casket. We're gonna lower the casket. He's gonna die. He's gonna die, and they're gonna all cry. Daddy Pope is gonna be looking out the window at Jake and Olivia, like, "What are you doing? What's going on with her little friend?" And that's going to be the end. And then I would like to subscribe to the fact that, okay, granted, he may not have been Olivia's little brother, but he was her little brother in spirit because she said
Yes, he
he
was.
had no one else. We were his family, and I found solace in the fact that I now know why Harrison loved Olivia the way that he loved Olivia. Remember, that's all I ever wanted to know. Why did
You
he love
sure did,
Olivia
LBJ.
the way
You
that he loved
you
Olivia?
you raised it many times. We were so suspicious about his allegiance to her. We just didn't understand it because it seemed unreasonably strong. And now we understand why, LBJ. He didn't have anyone else. This was his family.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
every time he was fighting for gladiatorhood, he was fighting for his family, and now we know that.
Yes,
Rest in
and
peace,
if you're watching
Harrison.
this,
Rest in
everybody.
peace.
Yes, rest in peace, Harrison. Rest in peace. We miss you, and we will always miss you. Now, I will have to say,
I, sh- I
you
should
know,
I should I should have got some water so we could have tipped the 40 to our homie. We should have tipped the 40 to our homie
but you know
because we'll
who
miss you,
you
Harrison.
know who's tipping 40s was Black Twitter. Black Twitter was all abuzz with Harrison's death. Like they took all kinds of memes and put with Columbus short in them and put them up there like Harrison at home watching Scandal. Like, and then they took another meme and had it like every Thursday I'm going to tweet a picture of Columbus short, and it was like a picture from him in one of those dance movies, and he was like, and it was like all of this funny stuff that was going on. But to add insult to injury, Columbus Short held a Scandal watch party in LA tonight to watch. Enjoy in Atlanta to watch Scandal. It was like let's have a come watch me die party, and people gathered in Atlanta tonight to watch Scandal. If you're watching us though,
But
make
but
sure.
yeah, I thought that was really a good sport of him. I love the fact that he just kind of said, yeah, I'm not on the show anymore. I'm embracing it. He was really a good sport on Twitter as well this evening. I think he took the right road with all of this.
He
I
did.
say hats off.
And if you're watching us, everybody, welcome back to the Scandalous Scandal Recap. I'm Larry, and this is Janaya. And make sure if you're watching us on Google Plus right now, you can post questions in the Q&A, and you can post those questions. If you like somebody's question that they ask, it'll bump up higher if you click the +1. Additionally, there's a new feature that's added, and if you click the applause button will show the high points in the conversation. If you put so it's a thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't like what's going on, and we can actually rank what you're saying throughout the conversation. It's a really cool new feature that we have added in. Janaya, Kimmy J loved your Aretha Franklin, and she's like,
Thank you.
yes, Aretha. That's what Kimmy J just said.
But there are so many recordings of that song that
Yeah.
they could have chose, and
But
they
there is none like
exactly the
Aretha.
right. Oh, there is none. There is
Yeah.
none like Aretha from back in the day.
Mhm.
They did the right thing.
Yolanda Baker says, welcome back, fellow Gladiator Season 4, Episode 1. My first comment was, what happened to Mellie? I know what happened to Mellie.
Woo!
Mellie was walking around that house and she was grieving.
Yes, she was.
Grieving. Mellie is missing her
Mhm.
child. This is her baby. This is her second born child. And it's Fitz's namesake, and it's like, what does she have to do right now? What does she have left? Like,
Exactly.
okay, husband's been elected. Husband's in the White House. Okay, good. What do I have to do now? My jump off is gone. Can't mess around with him anymore. Can't get my treats from him. So Mellie, Yolanda, to answer your question, Mellie is really going through she's going through all kinds of emotions right now.
Yeah, let's dig in here a little bit, LBJ, because Mellie, if anybody has the right to sit around in the corner like they lost their mind, it is Mellie. Let's think
Yes.
about her relationship with her son. She
Hmm.
has spent his entire life wondering about his paternity.
Right.
His entire life, he was a reminder of a rape, right? Like his
Hmm.
entire life. And remember, the last few years of his life, he was estranged from her pretty much, right?
Yes.
They're at
Yes.
boarding school. They're not having an active parent-child relationship. I can only imagine the regret that Mellie is carrying around right now related to the relationship that she had with her son. And then on top of all of that, there's nothing does a better job of helping you to try to ask those questions about who you are than losing a loved one. When you lose someone that's close to you, you kind of sit back. Everything kind of comes into perspective. I lost my father just a few years ago. And I will tell you, since that time, I have viewed my life differently. I don't
Hmm.
have time to waste. I'm embracing every moment. And I see Mellie moving into that transition. She's like, I got no time for the fake ones. Just sipping Cristal, eating my Fruit Loops with these real ones. That's all she had to say about it, LPJ.
Oh no, no, no. Melly had way more to say. All I have to say is 1976.
She said, if you reach your hand down there, you might not like what you find. She gave him a warning. Hashtag be warned.
Look, it's like this. It's like I think it's like my beard. It looks like 1970. It's like 1976. 1976. It looks like
Yeah,
Kimmy J agrees with us. Kimmy J says the same thing. She says to you, Yolanda Baker. She says Melly is grieving. She is grieving. It took the fight out of her. And you're right. Just like Janiyah said. I mean, it reminded her of the rape. It reminded her of
mm-hmm.
days gone by. And not to mention the mother-son connection that naturally resides between a mother and a son. Yes, they were estranged. Yes, they had their issues, but that was still her bone of her bone, flesh of her flesh. Like that was her son, and
Absolutely.
she was grieving that. She was grieving that. Zoe Emil is back with us. Janiyah. Zoe Emil says, "Miss you
It's
guys."
so great to see everybody. Oh
Yes.
my gosh. Yolanda, Zoe, Kimmy. Oh my gosh. It's so great to see you guys.
Zoe says, "Miss you guys." Yeah, Mama Pope is back in her hole. Mama Pope, Mama Pope. Oh, oh, Mama Pope. Somebody wants to know. Yolanda Baker says, and why did Papa Pope lie to our girl but then fess up about Mama Pope? I don't get it. Yolanda, here's the thing. Rowan Pope, my American Idol, my hero. This is the man I
Mm-hmm,
look up
mm-hmm.
to. I don't look up to everybody, but I look up to Rowan
Yes.
Pope.
Yes, you
Rowan
do.
Pope will never ever get rid of his boo. That is his love. Like he loves Maya Pope, but he also knows the danger that Maya Pope, the threat that she poses to the very fabric of the world, not just America, but of the world. And he put her back in the hole. He couldn't tell Olivia that she's back in the hole because she fears her mother too much. That is one key thing that I took away from the relationship. And I think we all need to take away from the relationship between Olivia and her mother.
You know what, LBJ? I think I'm torn. I'm torn. As last season I was one of the main people beating this drum about what Eli Pope and his love for Mama Pope. And you know what, LBJ? I am starting to think there's another twist to this story. I mean, why? Why did he put her back in the hole? I mean, there are lots of different ways that you can hold a person in secret, especially when you are the head of B613. Why did he put her back in the hole? I don't know, LBJ. I feel like there may be a point in the future where we find out a little bit more about this relationship. It may be more than love that's keeping her alive.
Well, yeah, it's love. It's love coupled with strategy and business. Like Rowan still
Mm-hmm.
runs the show.
Yeah, he
Rowan is
does.
running it. Rowan is pushing buttons, and everything that comes along with it. Dan Blakemore, welcome back, Dan Blakemore. Dan
Good
Blakemore
to
is
see
like
you, Dan. Ah!
Dan Blakemore is like, yo, listen, flat out, because Mama Pope ain't dead. Hashtag shots fired. A lot of people are saying Mama Pope isn't dead. I believe that she's in the hole somewhere and she's on punishment. She's on punishment for Rowan
She's
Pope.
definitely not dead. I mean, at the end of the season, we literally watched her be put in the hole. She's not dead.
Hmm.
Because one thing is for sure. When has when has Eli ever taken an order from the president of the United States? When?
Yeah,
Not in this show. Okay,
right.
not in any reality that we've seen. There's no way that he's going to now do something because the president told him to do it. Trust me, LBJ, Maya Pope is alive. She is in the hole, romping around, having a good old time, feeling like I'm right back at home where I was for 21 years. She's alive. She is alive. She'll be back.
She
And
will, but
her character was just too fly. I mean, she can't be done. We need more. We're waiting for it.
yes. What do you think about the addition of Portia de Rossi in the cast of Scandal as the new, as what did he call? He called her Cy was calling her Lizzy Bear. She's
Lizzy Bear.
the RNC chairman. It wasn't that pretty. That was like a sexy little twist that we had in there this episode.
I gotta tell you, I've always been a fan of Portia de Rossi. You know, we go all the way back to Ally McBeal, me and Portia. I mean, we've been together for a long time. And I'll tell you this, I was underwhelmed with her. You know, I don't know if I'm just waiting for more storyline. I don't know if I just wanted her to have a little bit more something snappy to say. I don't know. But I was underwhelmed. You know, I'm happy that she's there. I think this is going to be interesting to kind of watch Cyrus have a power play with somebody, you know, other than Fitz, right?
Right.
So that'll be nice to see the two of them play off of each other. And she can definitely hold her own against Cyrus. I mean, she made that very clear. In fact, one of my quotes of the night came from her. You know, he was talking about the tent being big enough for everybody, and,
Yes.
and Fitz's new philosophy about there being room in the tent for everybody. You know what she said? She said the tent is not that big, and you won't like what's outside of it. She basically said, LBJ, she basically said, you know what? You are the weakest link. Goodbye. She cut him off. She cut him off right there. So anyway, so yeah, happy to see Portia LBJ. Slightly underwhelmed with her performance, but she looked great. I mean, she looked great.
She did. She looked great. I mean, she gave you the House of Cards, DC, Republican, conservative, semi-progressive, authenticity, if you will, for this character. I do appreciate the way that she walked into the scene. The scene opened up and she kind of commanded her character. I do think my prediction for Portia's character, for Lizzy Bear, is that she is going to have some kind of groundbreaking, monumental scandal or some kind of involvement in something that's going to unfold this season. And we will have to watch and see how it is going to unfold before season 4 ends with the Lizzy Bear character. If anybody else agrees or disagrees, post it in the Q&A. Let us know what you think. Moving ahead, let's go outside into Jefferson Park, outside of the White House, where Olivia Pope and Abby had a dialogue there. And we really saw the first monologue of the season really come from Olivia Pope when she read the riot acts to Abby.
Told her real good.
All you had was 3 minutes. What kind of gladiator does that make you? And I think that was a wonderful theme for us to kick off the season, because everyone was scattered. The flock of Olivia Pope and Associates was scattered after Olivia bailed and bounced to this randomville island that Daddy sent her to, that she was getting peapod.com deliveries and everything else. And I think that when the flock scattered, it was every man for his or herself. I mean, you had Huck. Huck was working for, I call it Oranges, not Apple, because it was like he was kind of like somebody on the Geek Squad. He was somebody on like the Geek Squad, but then he was like, you have to have an appointment to come up to the expert bar. You mean the Genius Bar at Apple? So he's working for Oranges. And then you had Quinn, who's just like being rogue. She still had her access, her key fob.
Listen, I just want to make a note that I just rolled my eyes when you said Quinn. I continue to be sick of her. Can we kill her off? Why can't she go in the desert with odd nine? I'm completely tired of Quinn.
Let's put a pin right here for Quinn.
Park a lot. We'll come back.
That's where Quinn goes. But I'm saying all that to say that, this Olivia had to come back in and let her know, I'm still running this. Even though you might be the press secretary in the White House, boo, I've done that before. You're climbing up the wrong tree. Like, do what I say. I still run this. Go back, do your business. I'm going to go plan a funeral. Bye-bye.
You know what, LBJ? I have to tell you. I think Olivia had a lot of nerve coming back and trying to hold everyone else accountable for holding things together. The reality is, this is your firm. It's your credibility. It's your expertise that people are coming for. Why would you expect the firm to survive without you there? You literally left with no return date to be found. So no, Olivia. People were not just sitting around trying to keep the business that carries your name alive. I mean, it was a ridiculous expectation, and I did not. And again, Abby, I'm no fan of yours. You know, she's almost on the Quinn list. I'm pretty much sick of her as well. But let me just
Oh
tell you,
gosh, whatever.
let me just tell you, LBJ, I did not appreciate Abby having that face of accountability when Olivia was giving her her speech. I wanted Abby to snap back at Olivia and say, you know what, you don't get the last word here. The last word you said was goodbye. You know, see, that should have been in the script. You know, once
So
again.
now you moved from auditioning to Scandal to
And
writing.
yeah, I like to be behind the camera this season. Because seriously, Olivia, you have a lot of nerve coming back, putting it all on Abby's shoulders. Anyway, I didn't appreciate it, LBJ. But you're right. I mean, you know, Olivia brought the monologues. She brought the monologue. She did. She brought it back, and we needed it.
We did. We did. We totally needed it, and we also needed to actually see some good engagement between Rowan Pope and Olivia. I loved the fact that they met at their family restaurant, and you know they came in and they had the wine glasses, and she's like, "Oh, 1991, whatever red wine that you've got there. You're really trying to impress me like I'm a teenager tonight." And I was just like, "Oh, he's trying to make her feel better because Daddy did some dirty stuff to her," and that's really what he was doing. However, I was a little disappointed. If you follow me on Twitter, I actually tweeted this. I said, I'm a little disappointed that Olivia and Rowan do not hold the stemware correctly when they consume their red wine or when they consume wine. As enthusiasts, as connoisseurs, as elitists of wine, they are supposed to be holding the glass at the stem and not around the glass of the wine. Like, come on, and they just sit up there like they're at home,
Yeah,
somewhere in like
yeah.
Northeast DC, just sitting like turning up a wine glass. Like, come on,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah, well, I was,
they're blending
listen,
X, Y, Z. Come on, sip the wine the right way.
well, I'm going to tell you about me and wine. I've never paid more than $25 for a bottle of wine. No one has ever brought me wine on a boat, and no one ever has told me about, you know, being able to track my wine purchases because of the rarity of the actual wine itself. So listen, LBJ, I have nothing to say on the topic of how to hold a wine glass. Zipping it.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this. Kermit the Frog sips his tea tonight. I need a little something for my dry mouth or whatever. So I'm actually having a glass of ice water, but I'm drinking it out of a mason jar, people. So judge me if you will. Judge me if you want. But I can get down with the best of them. But we do have these in the house as well.
There you go.
Sipping my water.
There you go.
Oh man! But listen, so it looks like Anna Hopeful. Anna Hopeful.
Oh, we missed
Welcome
you,
back.
Anna
Yes,
Hopeful.
nice to finally have you back. You've been waiting for us. In regards to Portia de Rossi being on Scandal, she's like Portia tonight. Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z Z.
Totally. I agree. I agree. I
Over
mean,
it.
I just wanted more. I mean, after the showing that we had with what is Phoebe's name that was on the show last time? The blonde
Oh,
actress.
yeah.
What's
Smelly
her name?
cat, Smelly. Gosh, what is her name?
Lisa Kudrow. Lisa
Yeah, Lisa
Kudrow.
Kudrow.
After Lisa Kudrow's thrilling performance last season, Portia de Rossi, you've got some big shoes to fill, and I just think those shoes were gapping a little bit tonight. I think she needs some inserts.
No,
Are they
Janaya,
on
no, you
sale? Are
gotta.
they on sale at Payless this
They
week?
are on.
Let me, because
Oh,
she
I
needs
think
to get the
they're
insert.
on CVS. They're on CVS and not at Payless. But see, Zoe Email agrees with me where she says, keep watching the Portia de Rossi character. There is something coming with that one. I'm calling it. Zoe totally agrees with me.
We'll
Like
take
there's
it, Zoe.
and I hate to let the cat out the bag, but if you bring somebody like Portia de Rossi on a show, like there's gonna be something pretty monumental that's gonna take place in the season. You're gonna bring her on for like an episode and have her walk off. You put her in the bag for something else later, like just coming from the
Right.
production
Yeah.
standpoint.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you. I did have a thought. You know, if Portia really wanted to put Cyrus in his place, what would she do? Right. Like I started thinking that
Yeah.
through. What does it mean for Cyrus to be outside his tent? Right. I
Yes.
don't know. I wonder if Portia is in some way going to be linked to David Rosen, or if Portia is going to be linked to B613. I
Right.
don't know. So time will tell. Time will tell.
Oh yeah.
We'll take Zoe's prediction to the bank.
Yes. But speaking of B613, Yolanda Baker says, and how about David Rosen and the B613 files? And in color classification, scary. Yeah, it was a little OCD, Yolanda, the way that David Rosen had like the black, the brown, the orange, and the green going on with all the B613 files. But did you notice how Jake came up to him like, homeboy, look, I gave you all of it. I risked all of that and gave
Yes,
all those files to you. He's like, pull the trigger already. What are you waiting on? And then what happens? He gets a call like, hey, would you like to be the Attorney General? That's a safeguard. That is a safeguard. Those files will
absolutely.
live. That is a safeguard. I promise you.
Well, I'll tell you this, LBJ. If there's one thing that we know for sure, it's that Eli Rowan knows where those files are. Okay? Please, Jake. Jake did a little eye contact in the graveyard in the last scene. Listen, Jake, you've been watched. He's still watching you. He's always been watching you. He was watching you canoodle with his daughter this morning. Okay, Jake, you're still under Eli's thumb. So don't think that he doesn't know that you gave those files to David Rosen, and don't think that he doesn't know that David Rosen has those files. So LBJ, I have to tell you, I was really disappointed to see that in 2 months David Rosen did nothing. I just think it would have been so much more interesting for us to come back and find out that over the 2 months he had tried and failed. Over the 2 months B613 had come and beat him down or something. I don't know, but he's just been cataloging the files. Come on. I don't know, LBJ.
I think that's the
Maybe
nerd.
some cases will come out of it. I don't know.
I think that's the nerd in David Rosen. David Rosen is a perfectionist. He likes to make sure. Like, let's think about this. He's an attorney who kind of wanted to be a pundit, who was kind of who dabbled in the darkness of the gladiatordom. And he helped fix some things, but yet he wanted to expose some stuff. So David Rosen is a complex guy right here, and he's probably trying to figure out, how do I play this? All knowing evil god Cyrus is like, okay, I know who has the Lucid 13 file. Let me go and shut this whole thing down. And incoming call from the White House to the BlackBerry. Hello, do you want to be the Attorney General? FYI, Eric Holder and Barack talking about he's resigning and giving a date and stuff today. In real news. So how apropos is it that we get David Rosen as the new Attorney General of the United States of America? But what was boss about that conversation, though, was the audacity of Jake to walk in his office after he had come off the island. Mind you, he didn't really have a tan like that. So they had some really good hut or some palace they were living in. But Jake came off of the vacation and kind of read him the riot act as well. And he read him the riot act just like he gave it to Olivia.
Yeah.
He gave it to Olivia, but he didn't give it to her in a negative way. He gave it to her in that good kind of way when he was like, I'm the one you ride. I'm the one who can reach you, not touch you, but who can reach you in places that he cannot reach you. He had to let Olivia know, like, I am your Splackavelli. I remember that. That's a Throwback Thursday song. Every woman needs her own Splackavelli. Oh, what brother she can call when a man ain't doing her right.
Uh-oh, Scandal Jam session yet again.
Right, Jake is Splackavelli at this point.
But you know what, LBJ? Listen, I'm sure Jake has been putting it down. I mean, he's a very good-looking fella. He seems to, he's a murderer and all of these kinds of things. He's got special skills and abilities. But listen, we have seen Fitz have this woman up in a closet, clawing up against the wall. So listen, Jake, I mean, I'm sure you're doing a super awesome job, but don't go getting too arrogant. Right? If there's one thing women are good at doing, it's making sure that you feel confident in your abilities. Don't let it go. Don't let it go too much into the head, Jake.
Yes.
But there was another interesting interaction with David Rosen I think we need to talk about. He definitely got told off by Jake, but he also kind of got told off by Abby, right? She, he went to her, blah, 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 what happened with us? And she's like, listen, you are the reason that our relationship ended. You've been obsessed with files for 2 months. She said, listen, if you're really going to do something with your life and you're going to just, stop talking about it. She said, I'm paraphrasing. She said, be about it, David. Be about it. Go be the most powerful attorney in the country, in the world. Anyway, she did a put up or shut up. He was getting it from all angles. Put up, shut up.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And
let's see what he does.
You're right. Yeah, and it totally goes to that conversation with Abby and Jake, and then I think even with Jake and Olivia, it goes to the whole factor that I talked about all last season, and that is the good almighty nectar factor. And Dan Blakemore is like, I hope that Larry brought his nephew this season. Naya just mentioned Adnan. He's referring to when you mentioned Adnan earlier in the conversation.
Yes.
And can we just take a moment right now and have a moment of silence of like 3 seconds of silence for Harrison again and the nectar factor, because the nectar threw Harrison off his rocker.
It did.
If you don't know what the nectar is, if you want to know what the nectar is, go back and watch any of the episodes from our season 3 Scandalous Scandal recap, and you will learn what the nectar is. And I actually brought my jar of nectar. Tonight. This will be a slight jar of nectar. This is just nectar that's been congealed, if you will.
It's been sitting for 2 months in the.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's been in a hole. So let's have a moment of silence.
We really should have Larry, you have to spill some of your mason jar. You got to tip your 40 for Harrison, please.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. This is for Harrison. This is for Harrison. Here we go. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean it's too bad. It's too bad.
It is very bad, but I'm telling you that nectar will always get you.
Oh, it's going to get you.
And that nectar will shut you down. If you give your life over to the nectar, that nectar will be sweet and satisfying, but it will always come back to bite you and haunt you. Be careful of the nectar factor.
And LBJ, speaking of coming back to bite you and haunt you, and what are you doing here? Let's go ahead and get back to Quinn. Because you know what, LBJ? Listen. First of all, and I need to really, get my good ink pen out and write a letter to Shonda Rhimes. Because you know what? We're tired of you, Quinn. We don't have any other use for you. Her only purpose in this episode was to be the person who found Olivia. Oh, congratulations. You're good with the little internet searches. Yeah, you found the wine. I'm not impressed with you, Quinn. I'm through with your storyline. And frankly, who even let her back on the team? Okay? I don't trust you. I don't want you here. It's time for her to hit the road, LBJ.
You know what, Janiyah? I cannot accept. I can accept what you're saying because you're my friend. However, I cannot accept everything that you're saying because, number one, I ride for Quinn and Scandal. Quinn is my absolute favorite character on this show. She has so many layers and so many elements to her character. And this season, she has come not full circle, but she is on like a 180-degree plane where she is just coasting and coasting. And her voice is deeper. She's rocking a leather coat. And she's like, yeah, I mean, they're not there. I'm the only one that's here. And yeah, I realized it's order on mine. I said, I knew she'd know how to wipe her name off of these records. And I knew she wouldn't fly this airline. And I said, how could I find you? And it dawned on me. You like to order red wine. You like to drink expensive red wine. In fact, you like to have that highfalutin, high-fashion red wine. And I went to such and such's liquor shop in DuPont Circle. And they told me that you were ordering red wine. And I saw where you were ordering it, and that's how I found Julia Baker. I looked for Julia Baker.
You know what,
I found it. I'm like, Quinn, you better be about it. You have been trained, and you have been an intern. No. And Harrison, this is another shout out to you because if you think back to season 1, episode 1, Harrison was the first person to get the show started when he walked into the bar and offered her the job at Olivia Pope and Associates. Do you remember that? When Harrison got her
I do.
Again, Quinn rocks. Quinn, Robin, Lindsay rocks. All 3 names, everything that we don't know her by.
Listen, all she did tonight was prove what I've known for a long time, which is that she's annoying. Okay? If I've told you goodbye and I don't want to talk to you anymore, who told you to come dig me up? Find me on my island. That's all I'm trying to say. Quinn, you're annoying.
But she also needed to find Olivia because she knows that Olivia loved Harrison. Again, Zoe Emil agrees with me. She's like, I still love freak nasty Quinn and messy Mellie. She loves Quinn.
Messy.
Who cannot love Quinn? But can I tell you what I was a little disappointed by this episode? Messy. I needed to see some kind of interaction between Huck and Quinn. Like that was getting a little steamy and hot. Leslie's like awkwardly steamy and hot. And I was just
LBJ, I am so happy you brought up Huck. And I'm now moving away from Quinn as a topic. Let me just say this. What happened with Huck's family? I mean, I
don't want to talk about them. I'm not Huck anymore. I'm not Huck. I'm Randy.
Doesn't have that.
You have to have an appointment. Okay, I'll make an appointment. Don't talk about them. I don't talk about them anymore. I haven't been the same since you left.
Randy doesn't have hopes. Randy can't have hopes. If Randy had hopes, Randy disappeared. What are you talking about, Huck? Like this cadence of speech, is this how Randy talks? Because it sounds a lot like how Huck talks. Okay? Anyway, the point is, what happened to your family, Huck? LBJ, you know what I did? I went back to our last scandal recap
Yeah.
last season, and I was just looking at all of the open questions that we recapped at the end of our very last episode. It was, is Harrison dead? Where did Jake and Olivia go? Are Fitz and Mellie really getting back together and going to give it another try? Is Maya Pope in the hole? What did David Rosen do with the files? And is Huck with his family? LBJ, we got the answer to every other question. But what happened to Huck's family?
Yeah.
This is a storyline I'm excited about.
Thank you for saying that you're excited about it, because I do believe that we're going to see more about Huck's family.
It's gonna be good.
I think the audience in general has an affinity to Huck and his his overall well-being from like 752, 752.
We're very invested. Very invested.
Yeah, to like going to the family, looking at them through the window, and all of that comes along with that. We are invested in what Huck has to be through this show, and we want to see Huck reunite with his family somehow, some way.
Right.
Kimmy J, FYI, just said something in here. She said, "I just gave you a thumbs down, LBJ." This is going. She's on YouTube right now. I gave you a thumbs down, LBJ. You ain't. She said, Let me read it right. I just thumbs down to you. Ain't nobody got time for Quinn, LBJ.
Nobody.
Kimmy J, come on. Like really.
Thank you, Kimmy. Let somebody speak the truth here.
Okay. Crazy.
And let me say, now that Quinn has found Olivia, what other use do we have for her? Nothing. No, her storyline is finished. We're through with you. Hit the road, James.
She is going to be a constant mainstay in the associate's office because Harrison's deceased and homegirl Abby is in the White House. And I hope they do not bring back that B613 stuff. Also, does Jake realize that he is not as menacing as he thinks he is when he goes to David's office? Right, yeah. Jake is totally like on something else. So Jake is like really trying to be like Big Willie and like about the whole thing, but it's not really working. But B613 though is not going anywhere. As long as there's Roe and Pope, there is going to be a covert mission. It may be B17, or it might be like it might be like C617, and that's the new thing.
Right. It might be, yeah. You know what, LBJ? But we should talk about Jake a little bit more here, because there is a level of denial that Jake was in for the entire episode. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really, truly feel like he really thought that Olivia was going back to the island. And we all just knew as soon as she stepped her foot back on that U.S. soil, as soon as she got that good whiff of that power trip that she just loved so much, LBJ, we knew she wasn't going back. But somehow Jake, this man who claims to be able to touch her, he knows her so well. He really, LBJ, he was in denial up until the last minute that they were going back to that island. I'm just like, LBJ, what do you think is going to happen to Jake now? Where's his storyline going?
I'll tell you, Jake has a good 4 more episodes to really be hard on with Olivia, and then that Fitz monster is coming back on her with a vengeance never before. And Olivia is just, her world is about to shake, and we're about to see some lip quivers that we've never ever seen Kerry Washington do in this role as Olivia, because Jake is about to be out and Fitz is about to be back in.
And oh my gosh,
and it's evident.
Yeah, it is. LBJ, I just want to hear your thoughts on that scene where they passed each other in the hallway. LBJ, in that moment, I think that was my one mouth agape moment in the show, where I just couldn't believe the fact that they not only tried to act like they didn't know each other, but then wanted to do the little passive, oh, my pinky finger wants you so much, I just have to reach it towards you. And then they both just smirk a little. LBJ, what did you think of that scene? Made me mad.
I have 4 words. I think it's 4 words. Their liver still quivers.
Or you know what? Or maybe it was one of my quotes of the night that Cyrus said, which is, we all know what happens next. We've seen this movie 100 times.
Yes. Yes,
He
absolutely.
called it. He
Yep.
said
I
Olivia will
really
be
called
back.
it. And Daddy is watching too. Daddy, if you ask me, so here's the thing. Here's why I think we got a good 4 more episodes with Jake and Olivia. I believe in my mind of my prediction. If you touch the screen, I can prophesy and I can see right now. As a point of contact for the Scandal recap, just close your eyes and believe with me that you can make sure and guarantee that Daddy Pope has tasked Jake with finding out. I mean, with protecting and covering Olivia from Fitz.
Wait, LBJ, paradigm shift. Wait a second. Are you saying that Jake has been on a mission this entire time?
Absolutely. Did you not see how? Did you not see that interaction, the eye contact at the cemetery between Rowan Pope and Jake?
LBJ, I have to just tell you, you just blown my mind yet again. And this is why, LBJ, you are once again that secret link that you have to Shonda Rhimes that you really just get in that noggin. Because LBJ, when I saw the exchange between Jake and Eli in the graveyard, I thought to myself, it was Eli putting Jake on notice that he is still in control, that David Rosen had done nothing, that nothing had changed, and that Jake would always be run by Eli. I thought it was a hello, welcome back to reality. I didn't think of it as a keep up the good work, son.
Well, no. Take everything that you just said, add that in, and add what I just said, end it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all in
Mm-hmm.
the package deal, dude. Like, I run you. I run your life. If you are to die, it'll be at my
Ah.
hand. Your blood won't be on my hands. I will make sure that you are dead. And this is my promise to you, Jake, from
Mm.
Rowan Hope. And that is what I think. That's why I think that he's so. Jake was so adamant on keeping Olivia grounded with him. He wants to get
Mm-hmm.
her back out of DC so she can get away
Yeah.
from Fitz. And he knew that there would be a connection. He knows what it is.
He
He's
does. The
he,
jig is up.
yeah, it is. It's
It
up.
is.
She's back. She's back. She's working.
Mm-hmm.
And now his job is going to be keep Olivia away from Fitz because Rowan Pope is over it. Rowan Pope had that, the man's son died, and he blamed it on his wife. When we all know Rowan Pope had the man's son killed,
Mm-hmm.
Rowan Pope has it out for Fitz. He
Yeah, he does.
has it out for Fitz.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does, LBJ. And you know what? I hate we're almost out of time, LBJ, because I am looking forward to us digging in a little bit more on Fitz. Because this flip flop that has occurred with Fitz and the way that he's managing his presidency, the fact that when we came back tonight, Cyrus was calling Fitz Sir and Mr. President with some kind of respectful tone. There's something up with Fitz, LBJ. And anyway, so I just think we're on the brink. We're on the brink of figuring something out here related to this relationship.
Yeah, we are. We are on the brink, and I do have to shout out a few other folks who are watching us. Thanks so much, Keela Crane, for watching with tonight. Keela has a comment. She says, "Yes, this. I'm going back in the conversation. She can't shade Quinn. Quinn was the only one who remained a gladiator. That means you can't shade Quinn. Keela's talking to you, Janaya.
Yeah, and listen, love your girlfriend. But here's the thing about Quinn. She's in, she's out. She's left, she's right. She's up, she's down. She's hither, she's thither. We can't trust her. And if you're trusting her, that's what she wants. That's the okie doke. Don't give in. Hashtag Quinn, goodbye. Get out of here.
Then we've got Sonyag one. Sonyag one, whose icon is like an owl in their profile picture. This episode was lame. Period. Point blank. If the rest of the season is this much fluff, I'm out. So
Yeah.
some people didn't like the episode, Shonda. We're sorry. We loved it because I felt that it was a great tribute to Harrison. But Sonyag one, who's the picture of an owl, did not like it. So we'll all have our opinion. We say what we mean to say. So,
And you know what, LBJ? I have to say, I was really sleepy when the show started. I mean, I'm tired. It's been a long week.
hmm
And I was, generally by the end of the episode, I had this adrenaline rush where somehow the spirits have come through the television screen and I get that jolt of energy, LBJ. So I have to say, uh, I appreciated the episode. I think it teed up a lot of really interesting storylines. But did I get the level of rush that I've had in the past? I don't know. And I do wonder, OBJ, if it has something to do with the move to the 9 o'clock time slot. You know, I think that the difference between 9 and 10 when it comes down to network television is, content, right? Like there are certain
Yes.
things they can't do in a 9 o'clock slot. So anyway,
Because
we'll see.
we all saw what they did in that 10 o'clock slot tonight. If you were watching How to Get Away with Murder, I'm just saying.
Whoa. Yeah. So
Then you got
anyway,
so Kelly also made a comment on the actual event page on Google Plus. Kelly says, first off, it was okay. Jake just needs to go on once Liv tells him she loves Fitz, could never love him like she does Fitz, then stop sleeping with Jake. When Fitz Liv past each other's touch their pinky, they both had smiles. Okay, I'm just gonna stop reading that because it gets a little choppy. Anyway, Kelly is agreeing with you, Janaya, and the whole pinky touch and everything else that was
mm-hmm.
going on there.
Right, right, because then you do have to start wondering, Olivia, are you using Jake? Part of it is okay, Jake knows what he's opting into, but the other part of it is he's invested. He's invested, Olivia. He's invested in the delusion. And she's faking a level of investment in the delusion, and that's not right.
Absolutely. So tell me this: what do you have any takeaways from the season premiere
I
of
I
Scandalous?
do. I do. I have one takeaway, LBJ, and it is a quote from Mellie. She said, "When you see her, you'll tell me."
Mm.
And LBJ, that just resonated with me, and that just laid in my spirit. And I'm going to tell you why. What she basically said was, you know what? All bets are off. We are at a moment right now where we have no time for games. We literally just need to walk in the truth. And so that's my takeaway, LBJ. We have to look at what's happening in our lives and ask ourselves these questions about, to what extent am I contributing to the chaos in my universe by just not being genuine and owning my stuff? And so what do I say, LBJ? I say own your stuff, be genuine, be who you are, react honestly. So that way, you know what? We can just all get along and be on the same page. All she was saying to Fitz was, you know what? Let's just keep it real at this point. And when you see her, which you will, just tell me.
Wow, that was so beautiful and well said, Janaya. Congratulations
Mellie.
to you on that great.
Hashtag Mellie breakdown. It's good. It's good. Good breakdown.
Wait, sidebar. What was that box of cereal she was walking through the White House eating? It was a random box of cereal. Just a sidebar. I just had a
Yeah.
brain fart and thought about that box of cereal.
Hashtag generic Fruit Loops. White House, why can't you get the name brand? That's all I'm saying.
There are quite a few supermarkets in downtown
Yeah.
DC. They
Yeah,
could
it
have
was
ordered
called
from
like
that same
fruit
service that
ring-a-dings.
Roman Pope. Exactly.
It was like fruity ring-a-dings,
Right,
right?
exactly.
Right.
Fruit of hoops.
These are Fruit Hoops. That would be Fruit Hoops.
So
Oh,
here's
did
my
you have a
takeaway.
takeaway? Yeah.
I do. Here's my takeaway for the episode. My takeaway for tonight's episode is put your time in because payday is coming and you will want to reap a good harvest or a great reward. It's very churchy. It's very relevant.
It
And
was.
and I'll tell you where we saw it. We saw it in what you don't want to hear tonight and what a few other folks don't want to hear, but I know Zoe and Emil want to hear this, and that is in the life and times of Quinn on Scandal from season 1, episode 1 to season 4, episode
Okay,
1.
I'm just going to take a nap until you're finished talking about Quinn. I'm going to sleep here on this iPhone.
That's perfectly
Continue.
fine. Then don't bend your iPhone, hashtag Bengate. My thing is, I want to make sure that people understand the benefits of putting your time in. Like, if you are
Mm-hmm.
loyal, if you show up to work, if you show up and do a great job, if you are just consistent and operate out of a place of excellence and operate out of a place of, I want to do what's good and right for not just for myself, but for the benefit of the lives of others, then you will get a great reward in return. And I think Quinn is being elevated in at this time in her life. Quinn is at a place where she has been desiring to be with Olivia Pope and Associates. Think about how overzealous she was when she was trying to be in B613. Like, she was having the teeth pulled out, Huck was on top of her. She was going through. Quinn has been through hell and high water in this show. But Quinn is at a place now where she's feeling herself a little bit. She's got a little swag on her. Quinn
Yeah.
is really at a place of elevation as it relates to her job, her goal of being high ranked, being a high ranked associate with Olivia Pope and Associates. And Quinn is let Quinn's life be a lesson to you. Put your time in. Payday is
Mm-hmm.
coming. Will you receive
Yeah.
an reward? If not,
Wow.
this is Larry Brown Jr., Janiyah Wright, thanking you for being on the Scandalous Scandal recap tonight. We have had a wonderful time, Janiyah. Any last statements before we go?
LBJ, all I want to say is it is so great to see everybody tuned into the chat. It is just like coming back home again. I am so excited for this season.
Yes. I am excited for the season as well. Make sure you tell a friend about the Scandalous Scandal recap. I had a technical difficulty tonight. That's why you don't see my lower thirds on the bottom of the screen, but make sure you use the hashtag that's on the bottom of Janiyah's screen, hashtag Scandal Recap. You can follow Janiyah at the Janiyah Wright on Twitter, and you can follow me at Larry Brown Jr., all one word, Larry Brown Jr. on Twitter, and we would love to talk back to you. Keep the conversation going online. Make sure you leave comments on the YouTube page. You can forward the YouTube link, or you can forward the event page to your friends. Post it on your Facebook page. Keep the conversation going. We want to talk back with you and get the conversation going with other gladiators, because we don't know when the plug is going to be pulled. When Shonda says, you know what, the ride comes to an end here. And
Right,
we would
right.
love to document all of this great script writing and engagement online and television, because we're making history right now. We love that you're a part of this with us. We appreciate you. We want you to have a great night and have a great weekend. We will see you next Thursday. Bye bye.
Bye. Good night.